me, the bootcamp was more like an opportunity where I was able to connect with various leaders in agribusiness sector. It was also an opportunity to learn about various ideas from people internationally. I believe that experience is something that is very important in any career people walk through, and international trips like this provides us an opportunity where we get to know about the culture and experience of people from various countries. Thanks, Edorer.
My name is Palki Sharma and I'm from Sher Kashmir University of Agriculture Science and Technology of Jammu. I really enjoyed this boot camp. There were so many things to learn, great sightseeing and all that. Thank you.
I still believe that this is one of the major highlights of my career and it is also a very good start for me as well, because this has not only given me a big opportunity, but I've actually explored myself in a lot of different fields. So firstly, the Singapore experience was too good. Coming from a student background, here everything from the professors to the scientists there, they helped us in a lot many ways. From from the sessions to the personal level. Also, we asked them about our degrees and what can we do. It was a great opportunity here. It is a great resort, I have to say it. It is too great, from the facilities, from the cleaning system to the beds and everything else. From the food itself, it was too good. We actually went for sightseeing. Like the first half we started, we went for learning courses and then we went for sightseeing. Personally for me, it was the most exciting moment was when we were in the conference, when I was talking with the people, explaining them about my poster. It was a great opportunity for me there. Yes, I will personally very much recommend for any and every, be it undergraduate or postgraduate whatsoever, I will really recommend this for these books.
I'm currently in agriculture BSc 4th year in lovely professional university. Actually, I've come across Edorer through my college HOD, and I was really excited to be part of it because being an agriculture BSc student, that took below 25 years, it is an opportunity to travel across the world, that to Singapore and Malaysia, which are actually a good tourist places, and actually it's Edorer's, it's a great mindset that both education and traveling are mixed together. So it's actually a great experience. With a great CV, we can actually get a great CV, and I recommend everyone to actually join Edorer.
Hi, this is Yoga. For me, the bootcamp was more like an opportunity where I was able to connect with
Good evening, Renzo. Good morning for you in that case.
Good evening for you. How are you doing, Talika?
Thank you very much, Renzo, for joining us. It's such a pleasure having you, taking out time, managing once again to join us for this masterclass. So it's a pleasure having you. Thanks for joining.
That's 100% my pleasure. I appreciate a lot the invitation. Thanks for having me. How is my audio? Is it good?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfect.
Perfect. So how's the morning? Is it cold? How's is that? Yeah.
Minnesota is very cold, so now should be it's cold. Uh, Let me see,
Oh,
minus 7.
it's pretty cold in that case. All right.
Yeah, it's minus 7. Yeah, here in Minnesota normally it's cold,
All right.
but we have a heater everywhere, so we don't feel so cold.
Yes, I think you're used to of this cold. Uh, all right. So yes, winters are starting in India as well, and but we do not, experience the kind of cold you do. So
Mhm.
good evening, everyone here, and thank you very much for joining us for this another masterclass which we do. And we are here today with Renzo Negrini, and it's a pleasure having him here for this masterclass. He's going to talk about what's new in precision agriculture. I think everyone wants to know what is happening in precision agriculture. It is something which all the agriculture students, professionals, they're very curious about to know about what is happening worldwide actually. So we would see it from your perspective, Renzo. uh, I would just quickly tell you what is going to be the format of this masterclass. It is going to be a 60-minute session by Renzo, and which would be followed by 30 minutes question answer session. So everyone, please drop your questions in the question answer section, or you can also write them in chat. We would be taking all the questions one by one once the session and the presentation is over by Renzo. So once again, welcome everyone. Good evening, good morning, and I would quickly introduce our speaker today. Yeah, and then after that, it would be over to you, Renzo.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
So I hope everyone can see my screen here.
Yes.
All right. So we are very happy to have Renzo here. Renzo Negrini is a PhD researcher in precision agriculture and serves as the director assistant at the University of Minnesota Precision Agriculture Center. He leads innovative research focused on farm precision nutrient management, directly assisting farmers, researchers, and companies in testing and optimizing existing strategies. Renzo is recognized as one of the top 10 graduate students worldwide in precision agriculture. He has significant experience in the agriculture sector of Brazil, Central Europe, and the USA, working closely with farmers, consultants, and policymakers to create and apply sustainable data-driven strategies. Renzo engages in outreach initiatives, including global priorities, discussions at COP28 in Dubai. He integrates science-based methods, practical field experience, advanced data science, and machine learning to improve agriculture productivity, accessibility, profitability, and sustainability. His work focuses on sustainable nutrient management, addressing food security and environmental preservation through practical solutions for society. He is dedicated to empowering students and leaders globally to foster positive change in agriculture and promote social and intellectual growth. He holds leading positions such as agriculture engineer, director assistant at Precision Agriculture Center, on-farm precision agriculture researcher at University of Minnesota. So once again, welcome, Renzo. Thank you very much for joining us. So the stage is all yours. I hope you can just check if you can share your presentation.
Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. I think I shared the wrong one. Can you see now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, first of all, thank you very much for having me. Thanks for the kind introduction. I honestly appreciate a lot your invitation, and I appreciate a lot initiatives like this one that Edorer is providing for students. Before I begin, I just want to emphasize one of the biggest reasons, of course, why I accepted to give this presentation. So a few years ago, I was working in Belgium, Ghent University, and three of my work colleagues, bosses, friends, one was from India, other from Pakistan, and other from Bangladesh, and they helped me a lot during the process. So uh, sometimes they didn't have money. They took money from their own pocket. They gave me food because I was earning low salary. So at that moment, I made a promise to myself and to the world that I would help people not only from their region but from everywhere, because I know that there's no self-made man, there's no self-made woman. We all need help, especially when we are starting our journey. Okay. My name is Renzo Negrini. I am a PhD researcher, master in precision agriculture, agriculture engineer, and director assistant here at the Precision Ag Center, the place where everything that you see everything that you know about precision agriculture started. Okay. Here in Minnesota, the Precision Ag Center, Precision Agriculture Research started. Okay. And I will talk briefly about that later on. If my audio is not good, just let me know. Okay, Tulika. Thank you. First of all, I just want to. Is it good?
So it's all good, all good.
Perfect. So first of all, I just want to emphasize how important it is to do what you guys are doing, seeking knowledge, seeking development, seeking content, seeking international exposure. And again, also well done to Edorer for providing those kind of opportunities. Because although, as Tulika said, I was named one of the best graduate students and researchers in the world, I started from scratch. So when I decided to study and work with precision ag, I didn't know English. I didn't have a single professor in my hometown college. So I needed to start seeking knowledge for myself. I needed to start studying, asking for help, doing internships during holidays, during vacation time. Uh, I didn't have a good initiative like Edorer, for example, to help me in this process, but I am here, right? I could develop myself because I addressed every single step of the process. I didn't stop, I didn't give up, and seeking knowledge, seeking development will always pay off, will always be worth it. So, again, well done for seeking knowledge, seeking development, and you can be sure that this will be essential for your development. All right? Okay, now that we're on the same page, let's get started. Just the main objectives of my presentation, not the outline, okay? I want to first show the importance of agriculture because I know that a lot of people nowadays are doing computer science, data science, um, other areas, but they can shift, they can pivot, they can just use their domain knowledge to apply in agriculture. And I know a lot of people that do that. There's a huge potential for precision agriculture, digital agriculture, but people that come from computer science background, data science background, and are working in agriculture, right? Second, precision ag as a solution. What we can enhance with precision ag, what we can improve, what can be developed. And then I will present real world projects that we are doing that also other groups can do. And third, increase the general knowledge of those topics. Okay, just give the overall idea. I don't have time to go deeper in each topic. That could be as one semester class. And of course, foster a network, potential future connections. I will always open to connections, talk, outreach. I love that. And as emphasized, you can always reach out to me. Okay. For the outline, first, I will go briefly over the Precision Ag Center, the place that I work, and also Dr. Norman Borlaug, the first Nobel Prize winner in agriculture. And you understand why I will mention him. By the way, I work in the building with his name. And second, why agriculture? Why precision ag? Third, what can we optimize? High level precision ag projects. I will give one. So the last part of my presentation will be one presentation that I just gave 2 weeks ago in the biggest conference in agriculture here in US that was in Texas. And I will show you what we can do, like a real world presentation, a real world science applied project, okay? And acknowledged. Say thank you to everybody, okay? First, Dr. Norman Borlaug. I don't know if you all are familiar with the Borlaug Institute for South Asia. I'm a huge fan of the institute, and I'm a huge fan of Norman Borlaug as well. He was the first Nobel Prize winner in agriculture, father of the Green Revolution. He saved around 1 billion of people hunger in all the world, and especially in your region, India, Pakistan, and around your countries. He saved the millions. So nowadays, the Borlaug Institute for South Asia, and that's why I am emphasizing this, they offer a lot of research opportunities internship opportunities. They're doing a lot of digital agriculture, precision ag, and plant breeding. So they're pretty good on that. And just emphasizing this because can be a good opportunity for you guys if you're seeking knowledge, seeking development, seeking internship, seeking connections. Okay, because the impact that he could generate in your region and also in the world is fantastic, especially because he was a normal person, right? He built a legacy. He was the first Nobel Prize winner in agriculture. He saved billions of lives, especially with all the impact, with all the legacy he generated. But he started from scratch, like I did, like a lot of you did, like a lot of all successful people did. So, as I said, don't limit yourself. Think big, think huge, to be honest, and keep working, keep studying. Okay? Just a little overview about all the impact he's generating, his institution is generating, better saying. A lot of genotypes, production, higher productivity, tons of quality seed produced, a lot of villages in India and Nepal transformed by the impact. So a lot of papers, science-driven approach. And here I want to emphasize that he helped his institution is helping the scientific community, providing papers, providing discoveries, but also producing food, helping to address societal issues, food demand, sustainability. So there are two ways, and that's something that I love here. I love in my work. I do on-farm research, and I'll explain a little more. But this is basically, in my opinion, how science should go. We provide outcomes for the scientific community. We write papers, we present in scientific conference, but we also help with science-driven solutions for real-world scenarios like produce food, help the environment, and so on. Okay. Precision Agriculture Center, place that I work. First precision agriculture center in the world, started in 1995 by Dr. Pierre Robert and Dr. David Mula. Okay. Precision agriculture was started here, the area in the 80s, but the first precision ag center, as I said, started in 1995. Then here was created the first international conference on precision agriculture. Okay, international conference is organized by the International Society of Precision Ag, and was the place and by the institution that I was named one of the 10 best in the world. Okay, so first, why agriculture? Nowadays, agriculture can tackle, as I said, can address a lot of societal demands, societal issues. We can fight poverty, we can produce food, fight hunger, we can improve the good health and well-being. I won't go over all of them, but much more than just producing food, right? I remember when I started to work with agriculture, I said, I want to produce food. And then I noticed that I could produce energy. And then nowadays there's a huge area in agriculture for climate change, for sustainability, for carbon sequestration, right? And as I mentioned before, social development is crucial, especially because normally rural areas are less developed. And if we compare in the globe, in the whole world, the left side here, we can see that based on the gross domestic product, the richest countries, they depend less on agriculture, okay? And the poorest countries, they depend more, they rely more in agriculture. And we can see that in Latin America, in South Asia, in Africa as well. So agriculture brings a lot of value, not just in food production, but also in a social development for the countries. And in the right side here, we can see specifically in Asia, how countries are being more profitable in terms of value added and percentage of total employment. Okay, so of course the richest countries they have bigger agriculture, they have bigger outcomes, but there's a huge value. Even for the smaller countries, they have been doing a lot of agriculture and receiving good value on that. However, since many years, we have been noticing a lot of issues that have been raising because of modern agriculture. Okay, we increase the scale, and then consequently, we needed to increase the chemical application, and we are not being aware about each segment, each piece of our field anymore. So that what's happening? Degradation of soil fertility and quality. We are polluting more the soil and the water. The species and varieties of the crops are also changing and impacting all the ecosystem. Resource depletion, right? How is the food quality, especially in places where we produce a lot? How is the food quality, right? Not all places are focusing in the quality of the products, just quantity and food safety. Although we are producing a lot of food, although we have nowadays less people dying from hunger, yeah, there are people dying from hunger in the US, there are people dying from hunger in Brazil. Just to give two examples of two of the biggest uh, agriculture producers in the world, right? And not to mention other places where they don't have access to not only to food itself, but to fresh food, food with quality. And the biggest pain point is population is drastically increasing, exponentially increasing. And we can't just cut trees and produce more as people were doing in the past. We can't expand the areas. We need to produce more in the same area and in an accessible way, because the small farmers are struggling to pay for fertilizers. Medium farmers are struggling to pay for seeds and for fertilizer as well. So how to make areas more productive in the same space and in an accessible way without, of course, polluting the environment, so that those solutions also need to be sustainable is the whole point. And I brought this scenario because I've been reading more about how climate change and how agriculture in South Asia has been impacted in the last years, and I've seen that the results are concerning. Right, there are some food crises happening in your region, and of course, I hope it gets solved. But this is not only happening in your region, but happening in a lot of places, a lot of world. So how to address, how to adjust agriculture to the climate is also the whole point. So with that said, why precision agriculture, right? But before explaining what precision agriculture is, I want to give you a similar scenario because, as I said, I know that people are from other areas, and just to everybody be on the same page, understand it properly. Okay, precision medicine. Like, what's precision medicine? Medicine basically. Imagine we all have the same disease, but we all are different. We all have different variabilities. All our genetics, our conditions, or other variables that are impacting our health, like environment, for example, they all vary, right? They're all different. So is it correct to give the same prescription, the same medicine for we all? That's the point. We should address the conditions, the specific conditions of every single person. And after we understand the conditions that are impacting this person, we make the adjustment, we make the prescription. Then we can prescribe any specific medicine for this person condition. This is precision medicine, and precision agriculture is the same thing, but instead of humans, it's for plants. Just to give a better scenario, a better idea, those are commercial farms, okay? And for commercial farms for large scale, we can see a huge variability in the crops. And especially in the brownish yellow. Let me see if my pointer is working. I think that should be working, right? Um, we have areas more green, areas more yellow, areas here more blue, probably waterlogged. So without proper drainage of water, these probably they will lose all crops here and here as well, here as well. Here should be another kind of stress, not water caused. But why I'm saying this, because normally in conventional agriculture, farmers would just come here and apply a uniform rate of nitrogen, of pesticide, of sulfur, of potassium, whatever, even irrigation. So uniform rate of any kind of management. But look how big it is. Look how the crops are developed here in the bottom, but not here in the brown, yellowish area, right? So is that correct to apply the same nutrient, the same water, the same crop protection product for all the plants, for all the regions? Therefore, precision agriculture as a solution is first understanding the spatial and temporal variabilities and use this understanding as optimization tool. That is to optimize the agricultural inputs and management practice that we will apply or do in the field, right? Then we can increase the yield, increase profitability for farmers, even for consultants as well, and in a sustainable way. That's the whole idea. Understand how the factors in the field vary in function of space, distance, depth, and in function of year, months, days, weeks, years, okay? Addressing spatial and temporal variability. Just to give you a better idea, we have the growth, yield, quality, okay? So we want our crops to grow well, to achieve high yield with quality, okay? And what are the factors impacting our growth, yield, and quality of our crops? We have variety, genetics, we have light, temperature, precipitation, so environmental factors, soil, topography, the pests and diseases we have, the weed, and we have the management, so planting date, seeding rate, cropping systems, fertilization. So basically, the management is what we can do, what we can adjust, what we can prove. In summary, genetics by environment by management, the three main factors affecting our yield, our crops. And when we are doing precision agriculture, we also have genetics, environment, and management, but for each of the three, we have the impact or the effect of space and time. Each of those variables, light, temperature, precipitation, tillage, irrigation, topography, soil, whatever, they vary in function of space and in function of time. And we need to address those variabilities. Biggest concept of precision agriculture: do the right thing in the right place at the right time in the right way, what's known as the 4 Rs, and also what's crucial, with the right rate, using the right genetics. Okay, so the 6 Rs is less famous, but it's more complete, right? A lot of people talk about the 4 Rs or sometimes the 5 Rs with the right rate, but addressing the genetics is also crucial. And that's why I gave the example of precision medicine, because precision medicine brings a lot of outcomes and they emphasize a lot the genetics, much more than anything else, to be honest. And for us, a lot of people are forgetting about the genetics, but the genetics are crucial, okay? Again, to illustrate a little better, we have areas in our field with more productive potential and lower productive potential. If we apply uniform array, what's going to happen? One place can be underapplied and other place can be overapplied because the demands are different, and we want to improve all the nutrients that we can apply to the crops. So basically optimize the nutrient application. We want the crops to get the most of the nutrients without sending the nutrients to the water, to the soil, because then we are what? Spending more money, polluting the environment. So basically, we need to adjust our application based on productive areas. That's one approach, right? There are many other approaches, and we will discuss more about that. But that's the whole idea. Reduce loss and maximize profits. Reallocation of inputs based on productive potential. That's a huge idea in precision agriculture. In summary, why precision ag? Increase productivity, efficiency, and I also emphasize this improving quality is something that a lot of people are working on because it's not easy. Quantity is much easier than quality because for the quality, you need to understand more the micronutrients, you need to understand more the genetics behind it. That's more complex, but that's a huge area to explore how to improve the quality based on precision agriculture, digital agriculture. Okay. Improve profitability. And when I say profitability, not only for the farmers who will potentially apply less and improve the yield. Sometimes for precision ag, we are not necessarily applying less. Okay. I just finished one data analysis yesterday that in theory, the farmer should apply more, but that's the idea. He will apply more, but he will achieve more yield. So that's efficiency because the as I mentioned before, when I apply the right product at the right time, what's going to happen? The plant will absorb more. Okay. The nutrient, the fertilizer will be mostly to the plant. We reduce the waste. And again, profitability, it's not only for the farmers who will get more money, but also for the people that are working with precision agriculture. Because precision ag demands more knowledge. Precision ag demands more value, sorry. And when we are working with professionals that are experts in precision ag, that are doing precision ag, what's going to happen? They have more value, they add more value to the farm, to the management, to the people around. Companies that are doing precision ag, they add more value to their services because it's complex, it's not easy. Otherwise, everyone would be doing that. Uh, reduce inputs, reduce environmental impact. As I said, there's a huge potential in precision ag. A lot of people are using precision ag to reduce the environmental impact. I will explain more what I mean by that later on, but I'm seeing a lot of project proposals, project funding for precision conservation because people need to understand more the spatial variability and the temporal variability in their field, the productive areas, and for the areas that we can't produce well, we don't grow anything. We put other ecological agents, for example, pollinators or trees. So we work more with the agroforestry behind it, agroecology behind it. Okay, there's a huge potential for that. And as I said, improve social and intellectual development. We add more knowledge, we add more value, and people develop more. That's what I believe. Okay, now going over the projects we have, or the groups have, and a lot of people can do those kind of projects. I think that it's important for you guys to be familiar with projects and understand the big picture of that. And then when you start working on specific tools, you see, okay, I can work on that. I can do that. I can apply machine learning on that. I can apply geographic information science on that, just to name a few tools, all right? Precision soil preparation or precision tillage. First of all, we need to, as we say, prepare the soil or mix the soil or treat the soil before planting, after harvesting, reduce compaction, and other important factors. But first, okay, if we have a lot of compaction in the soil, is it a good practice to use the machine to break the compaction using the same power, using the same pressure and all the physical properties we have in the machine uniformly for the whole field? Some places we have more compaction than others. So doing a precision soil preparation, it's important. Or precision tillage. That's one work that I have contributed in Belgium when I worked there, and the results are fantastic. Honestly, precision tillage, it's, it's fantastic. That's also a huge area to explore more. To be honest, precision seeding, one project that I have been working since I came to Minnesota. Basically, I think that the most expensive product for agriculture nowadays is seed. So how to optimize your seeding rate, your plant population across the field, it's essential. It's also a fantastic project because imagine we have, as I said before, we have more productive areas, medium productive, less productive, and we need to adjust our seeding rates accordingly. So we plant more in the most productive. So we invest more money in the most productive areas, okay? And then how should we do the prescriptions? How should we target the prescriptions? How should we adjust those prescriptions? That's the whole point as well. Okay, there's a lot of machine learning, there's a lot of genetics understanding, okay? There's a lot of environmental factors understanding in function of space, function of time. Precision pesticide management. It's one of the areas that I see people doing most nowadays, especially with UAVs, especially drones application, because especially in tropical areas, there is a lot of weeds, there is a lot of pests and disease. Not so common here in Minnesota in the cold, but in tropical places, there's a huge potential to explore, especially in drones. So I'm showing here more machines, okay, big sprayers, big boomers. But nowadays, I see a lot of people asking me about drones. How can we do that with drones? How can we optimize those services using drones, especially in areas less accessible? That has been happening a lot. Applying pesticides more more localized, sorry. And then we don't contaminate other areas, and we focus more on applying the right product in the right place for the right issue that we are having in that region. We have in the same field, we can have weeds and we can have other pests, but then should we apply the same product uniformly? Doesn't make any sense. We apply one product for the weed in the place where we have weed, and one other product for the pests in the place we have pests. Then we can save money, we can help the environment, and help our yield as well. Precision harvest is also a fantastic project that people are doing because after seeding, harvesting is one of the most, at least that's what the farmers say, it's one of the most concerning uh, steps in the whole season because it's complicated. You need to know the best day to do it. You need to know the best adjustments, the best settings or machine, the moisture level, the calibration of the sensors, the calibration of the machinery, all the specifications you need to know. And if you lose your harvest, if you don't do those things right, you lose your money, you lose your yield, and we don't want to waste our efforts. So precision harvest brings the importance of understanding more the right moisture level to harvest, the right calibration, the speed of the harvester, of the combine, as we say here, the speed that we should use. So all those factors we can adjust to get the best harvest possible. And this is precision conservation. I love this project. I love this concept. I think that just a few people are familiar with precision conservation, although it's a area that has been growing a lot. Basically, is precision conservation. Basically, is we have our field, and I have the illustration here. We have a field, and for the field, we have more productive areas and less productive areas. And for the medium and more productive, we invest in our crops. Then we can grow corn, soybeans, horticulture, or whatever. And for the less productive areas, what we're going to do, we will optimize the agroecology or the agroforestry in that section, in that area. That is, we can put animals, we can put trees, we can put pollinizers to improve pollination. Okay, so those agents, they improve the sustainability and they can also enhance yield because, as I said, for example, pollination we improve the yield. Animals we improve the manure in the soil. So biological fertilizer, basically, as a lot of people call it. And with precision ag, we can understand more the factors, understand more what we have there, and use those factors to improve our decision making and the outcomes you can generate with precision conservation. Just to give another idea, I'm emphasizing this project because I know that most of the people are not familiar with this area. It's pretty new. Uh, First, at the top, we have the profitability map. Okay, so areas that we can have more profit and less profit, basically. And for areas where we are losing money, so understand profitability as yield potential or productive areas, okay? Profitability areas and yield, high yield and medium yield areas, okay? So for the areas where we are basically losing money or producing less, we improve the biodiversity. We put other agents, put other things. I gave one example here of solar panels to get energy for our farm, sustainable energy, other agents here, flowers, good pollinators agents that will help a lot the crops. And then on the right side here, we can optimize our management practice. So like there is an example for nitrogen. We apply nitrogen, we invest more in nitrogen where we are producing more, and areas where we're not producing, we adjust accordingly, right? We apply less nitrogen and less fertilizers. We can also apply based on the flowers demand or trees demands, whatever. But for example, if we put animals, then the animal can generate manure for that area and it might be enough. Okay. And then the profitability map will be enhanced because we can, for example, in this illustrated example, in the left part, we have carbon sequestration credits. So a lot of companies are investing in precision conservation because of that. For areas where we are not growing, we can put other plants that will sequestrate carbon. And that's a huge way to also enhance our field, enhance the profitability, and enhance different outcomes we can generate. This is just one example. We can play with this back and forth in many different ways. Other examples of precision ag. Okay, precision ag is not only for crops. Instead, we can do precision ag for all the sectors in agriculture. So trees, animals, there's a huge potential to explore in precision livestock. I've seen a lot of people come to me and say, okay, I want to do that in animals, in pigs, in livestock. There's a huge potential. Okay. First, for the management in those animals, and secondly, for crops for those animals. Okay. I'm not familiar with the animal part because I'm not a vet doctor or I don't work with animals, but that's something important to emphasize. The domain knowledge will change, but the concepts of precision ag are the same. What I mean by that is the genetics, environment, and management in function of space and time will also be applied for animals. But then you need to understand more about the management for animals. For example, how to adjust the food for the cows, how to adjust the environment for the cows. Okay, just to give one example. I like to emphasize the importance of remote sensing because um, everything that I mentioned here can be enhanced by remote sensing. The application, fertilizers, pesticides, even irrigation nowadays can be done by drone, can be done by UAVs. A lot of people are doing that. And satellites, they have a huge benefit when we are doing scouting, monitoring, prescriptions, doing nitrogen prescriptions, other fertilizers prescriptions. We can use remote sensing, we can use drones to make that nowadays. And not to mention other vegetation indices or other variables we can derive from satellite data. Automatic guidance and steering. It's also very important to emphasize because um, almost all the farmers that we speak and that especially that we talk and we see, okay, what do you want to improve more in your field? If they don't have automatic guidance, they always say automatic guidance, the steering. That will make a lot of improvements in the farm, in the field, especially when doing the applications or doing the most important management practices. What I mean by that is seeding, tillage, uh, chemical application in general, because then we can make the prescriptions for them and they just follow. They don't need to be worried about what kind of application or what kind of route to follow. Or if for big farms, for example, they have a lot of machines going back and forth the same way, right? So traffic control, it's also important. Not just make the prescriptions and make them apply, and that's it. So how to guide the machines inside the field in an efficient manner, it's important because then you can save fuel, then you can reduce the compaction caused by the tractors or by combine in the soil. You can, there are a lot of benefits. That's why agriculture is so complex because there are a lot of factors impacting our yield and our soil consequently that sometimes we're not addressing, that we have no idea about that, right? And all of those factors can be addressed and can be improved, better saying, by precision agriculture. I'll give one example of one project that's one of the projects that I work, that I co-lead, and one of the projects with biggest potential, in my opinion. I don't know if it's still potential, but it's a real, um, it's already a reality, to be honest, because we have been doing this for five, yeah, 4 years. And I'll explain more what I meant by using satellite to make prescriptions. Okay. So first, uh, we do on-farm research. Okay. So first thing first, we do on-farm research. And for the on-farm research, basically, we need to work with the farmers. We go to commercial farms and we make the plans, the strategies with them. So in the left side here, we have the pre-plant nitrogen strip. So basically, this is a commercial farm. We have many strips, north, south in the farm, and we make different pre-plant recommendations. Okay. And then in the right, we use satellite to derive one vegetation index that's called NDVI. And then we can understand better the crop development in each of the in each segment of the field. And accordingly, we make in-season nitrogen recommendation. So this here is an example of a curve based on, in the bottom, how much we applied of nitrogen as per plant, and in the y-axis, the NDVI response. So that means for the highest point of this curve, that was the optimal nitrogen rate. That is the rate that basically achieved the highest crop development. Okay. And after we identified the optimal nitrogen rate using satellite data, we make the prescriptions, site-specific prescriptions. Site-specific means for each segment of the field, we apply variable rate nitrogen. Variable rate nitrogen is a specific rate of nitrogen for that specific location. It's what I explained in the beginning, right? Optimize nitrogen. Another example is water management, irrigation. So we have different treatments of irrigation, and we work with the farmer, we build a strategy, and based on thermal, using UAVs, using drones, we can use thermal sensors, and based on the thermal sensors, temperature response, we can see water stress and nitrogen stress as well, depending on the situation, because water and nitrogen stress can be related, okay? Thermally they are. And how to optimize the nitrogen and water together is also a fantastic project, fantastic idea. Again, for this time for potato, we have different sections. In the right side here, you can see a thermal image. So different stresses, different variabilities, and adjusting the water for each section of the crop or the field, and for each crop individually or for each region, even if you need to group more crops, that's precision agriculture. That's precision nitrogen, precision irrigation, precision sulfur, precision nutrient management, precision crop management, okay? Basically, call you as you prefer, but the concept is the most important, because then we know how much, what we should do, basically. And now I will give one example of a science applied project using on-farm research, and I will explain more on-farm research and how we can optimize nutrient management in general. For this example, I've done sulfur, okay? And I use machine learning to do that. And I explain how you can do that, how anyone can apply this kind of project in different scales. Of course, don't need to be on farm, can be small plot experiment, but the concept is the same. First, sulfur. Sulfur fertilizer is first, sulfur was being supplied naturally by the atmosphere and by organic matter deposition as well. But thanks to all those sustainable policies, the sulfur deposition from the atmosphere has been reduced by 80%, bringing a huge demand for sulfur application. And what people are doing, they're applying more and more and more and more. And that is impacting surface water, soil as well. And they're spending more money because the fertilizer is more expensive, right? So with that, we can assess the within field variability of those optimal sulfur rates, and I'll explain later what I mean by that, and evaluate the potential benefits of a variable rate sulfur application. In this case, it was corn and soybeans field in Minnesota, but you can do that in any different crop, in any different place. But the importance is to first see the rates that are achieving most benefits and what kind of benefits. Benefits can be agronomic, economic, sustainable. So that means highest yield, highest profitability, highest money, and highest efficiency. Third, understand the limiting factors. So the factors that are affecting those sulfur rates, okay, or the crop in that specific region. And again, that can be sulfur, can be nitrogen, can be water, can be whatever. And the factors, the limiting factors affecting those nutrients, water, or management, whatever management, the limiting factors will always vary, but understanding them is crucial. And as a fourth objective, develop a practical precision sulfur management, because after we see the optimal rates, after we see the benefits, after we understand the factors, we can use those factors to make management zones to tailor our applications for specific areas in the field. Just one example here, we have different fields in Minnesota, different study designs. For each block, for each grid, we have a different sulfur rate, okay? And the idea here is to group the 4 or 5 rates. And when we have the 5 rates, we group it and call it block, and we replicate those blocks across the field. This is a randomized block design for on-farm research, okay? We are doing this a lot with the farmers. If you guys are interested in on-farm research, if there is a consultant or a professor or a farmer that wants to know more about on-farm research, just let me know. We have a bunch of study designs, ideas, and we have been doing study on-farm research across all US and expanding outside as well. Although we are doing precision ag here, when we analyze the field, we do an overall analysis. These are the results. We can't see any statistical significant result. We can't see any difference. It's more or less all the same. Okay, we can't see anything clear, right? Because that's the overall result. However, remember when I explained about precision ag, spatial variability, okay, how much our yield or our managements are varying in function of space. And in the left here, we can see how much variability we have in a commercial farm. Those are the plots. So those curves here are yield in function of sulfur rate, and we can see how much our yield varied for each of those blocks here in function of the sulfur we prescribed. And there in the right, we have the economic optimal sulfur rate, so the benefits, the economic benefits we can generate, how much we can improve economically, or which rate perform the best economically, achieve the highest profitability. And we can see that for all the rates, for all the segments in the field, every single rate performed the best economically. And the same agronomically, all the 4 rates performed the best in each segment of the field. And after that, when we account for the whole benefit, we can generate to the farmer more than $8,000 just optimizing sulfur. One approach is to delineate the field in different areas using limiting factors. Organic matter is one factor, so we can divide the field based on organic matter levels, and then see the different response, apply more sulfur in areas where they have lower organic matter, or apply less when they have more organic matter. That's one approach, and we can see that the responses are varying a lot when we do that. But still, we don't know if organic matter is the main factor because it's a commercial farm. We have a huge variability. So what we can do using machine learning, we can use machine learning to understand the importance, the feature importance in our corn yield, and consequently the corn response to sulfur fertilizer using a database that has topography data, soil management, remote sensing, and all other data you can collect and use. First, we uh, in our machine learning model, we evaluate the performance, okay? Because feature importance is necessary. It's crucial. But before doing feature importance, we need to evaluate our model and see if our model is performing well. In this case, model performed pretty well. And this is one example of stacking model. So basically we have 4 different models. We train them individually and then we stack it, we group them to have a better overall model. Okay, I won't go over the details, but just to all have an idea. And for the feature importance, we for this year use the SHAP separately library, pretty good for a model explanation. And we can see, for example, historical yield, elevation, seeding rate, soil water content, organic matter, soil moisture, cation exchange capacity, all factors that are impacting our yield. And in this way, we can visualize, for example, higher the historical yield or the productive area, higher will be our yield prediction and the impacting the yield and the sulfur response to the yield. So then we can delineate the fields in specific management zones or tailor our sulfur recommendations based on those factors. Again, another way to see the feature importance using the stacking model, we first understand the factors impacting our yield, impacting our sulfur response, and then as a next step, we make tailored, optimized recommendations for our nutrient. Limitations for implementation. I think that's very important. Knowledge, precision ag requires a lot of knowledge, reliable data. We need good data. We need to collect good data in all different scales. Costs. There were a bigger barrier when I started working in precision ag, but nowadays I see that there are a lot of policies, there are a lot of incentives, a lot of investments. Technologies are costing less nowadays. So a lot of people are having more accessibility to precision ag technologies. But still, as the fourth point here, we need to develop more technologies and solutions for smallholder farmers. I see just a few companies focusing on smallholder farmers, and that's important. Fifth, professionals afraid to be disruptive. I see a lot of farmers and consultants that they're afraid to test different ideas, new projects, new collaborations, new management techniques. But we need to innovate always, always to seek for different improvements. Collaborations, always collaborate, always work with people, always seek people that know different things that you don't know. That's important. Desire to act, and feel free to send in the chat. Feel free to let me know later on. I also want to hear your opinion about what kind of limitations you see for precision ag. And with that said, I think I'm on time. I want to again say thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you very much for your time. And in special, I want to conclude my presentation with this image because um, as I emphasized in the beginning, as Tulika also emphasized in my introduction, one of my biggest objectives is promote social and intellectual development around the world. And all the kids, they have dreams. And during our childhood, we always have dreams. And giving proper education is one way to keep those dreams and those people moving forward. Okay, so Thanks, Edorer, for your initiatives, for having me again, and thanks for providing education and international exposure to people and for everybody who is hearing now. Keep studying, keep emphasizing this education, achievement, and journey, and you see that that will be worth it. Okay. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Renzo. That was such a great session. I hope that all the participants are going back with a lot of knowledge and a lot of information they were looking in for from this session. So it was great. And now I think we can move to the question and answer if we have some questions here. Can you see like we can begin with one question which I can see there at the chat. So yeah, so somebody is asking, this is Muhammad, can't see the full name. He's saying, Professor in precision conservation, we focus on farm design, infrastructure or not? Because infrastructure prefer uh, in the middle of farm to reach every corner easily. So can you read the question?
Yes, yes, yes. I read that. Yes, that's a good question. So in precision conservation, we need to focus in design and infrastructure indeed, because imagine we have a commercial farm in a bigger scale, and we need to understand areas where we can produce more. First, understand the productive areas in our farm, okay? And then where we are losing money or where we are not producing well, we optimize those areas, adding flowers, adding trees, adding animals. And then based on that, we uh, we can follow a specific study design. Of course, study designs normally they improve our understanding and our decision making based on the managements we can do. But if not, in for smallholder farmers, for example, that they don't have much expertise for on-farm designs, just see visually, right? What crops are developing more, what crops are developing less, where you might be spending more money than what you should, and then you can play around. I think that precision agriculture idea concept can be applied for all different scales. Of course, as I said in the presentation, for bigger farmers, we have more machinery, we have more technologies. The companies invest more in those bigger farms because they know it's more profitable for them. But for smallholder farmers, they can also do precision ag. It will be harder, of course, but they can also do precision ag. The idea is to understand more the variabilities in function of space and time, and then adjust the management accordingly.
Thanks, Danish, for the question. I hope you got the answer. Thanks for asking. So another question which I can see, Renzo, here, that what's the future of farming as per your perspective? So interesting question. I don't know what do you have
Yeah,
to say here.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's a really good question because I mean there are a lot of things to happen with agriculture, right? Agriculture is changing every single day a lot, and in my idea, the future of farming will be focusing conservation, focusing agroforestry, so focusing on producing more food in a sustainable way, but getting back on time in a certain way. Because if you see the history of agriculture in the past, people were managing more spatially, more they were managing better their fields because the fields were smaller. There was no huge scale like we have now. So they could manage better in a more sustainable way. And then when we started to advance more over time, increasing the size of the fields and adding more chemicals to fulfill all the demand, we started losing in terms of sustainability. We started to impact more our environment. And I think that now people are talking much more about sustainability because we can see climate change, we can see environmental damage in water, soil, whatever. So going a little back in terms of environmental impact and moving forward in sustainability, I think that's the whole point. How to produce more in a sustainable way, and especially in a more accessible agriculture, because we see how expensive it is for smallholder farmers to buy seeds, to buy fertilizers, right? And also how hard it is in some places to acquire knowledge. So farmers that need to acquire knowledge to develop intellectually, how difficult it is for them to have access to good information, okay? Especially in rural areas.
I think Weber was quite excited when it was coming. There's another question coming from him. I would quickly ask this. This is he's asking, can you emphasize on the farm economics and respect with respect to precision agriculture by considering high input cost and less net returns on commercial farms? Can you see this? Did you get the question?
Yes. Here is going to emphasize on the farm economics with respect to precision ag by considering high input costs and less net returns on commercial farms. Yeah. Okay. Uh, so basically, it will change based on the management you are improving with precision ag. Okay. But for example, I gave one idea of I presented about nitrogen. I presented about different projects, but I emphasize nitrogen, precision nitrogen management. Okay. Nitrogen is the most expensive fertilizer. And for just to have one idea, just for effect of comparison, for the sulfur that I presented in the last, we could optimize more than 8,000 in a whole farm. So for nitrogen, that would be more than double than that, depending on the situation, depending how much the farmer has been applying. Because normally for on-farm research, what we do, we talk with the farmer, we talk with the consultant, and we see what's the farmer's practice. So what's the farmer's current strategy? And normally they apply a uniform rate across the whole field. And then we say, okay, let's make a study design. Let's try different strategies. Let's try different nitrogen rates per plant. And then for the in season, we use satellite data, machine learning to optimize. So first we understand and then we optimize. And with this optimization, we can save nitrogen, we can increase yield, we can reduce environmental impacts. But the benefits, the whole benefits will depend farmer by farmer, field by field. But most of the times you can generate a lot of benefits. I haven't seen any single example with no benefit generated, to be honest.
Thank you, Weber, for your question. I hope it was answered the way you wanted it. And then another question we have here, Renzo, from one of the students, is Akash, and is seeking for your suggestion on how can I, as an undergrad student, start working on precision agriculture projects independently. Could you provide some practical ideas or steps to begin with?
Yeah, absolutely. So first thing is what you are doing right now. So seeking knowledge, seeking presentations, seeing what people are doing. That's how I started. I started going to conference that were more accessible, of course. Nowadays, a lot of them are digital. So being part of opportunities like Edorer or other companies or other conference are crucial for the development, okay, for acquiring knowledge. And if you said that you are an undergraduate student, right? So is there any professor you can talk in your university? Is there someone, any professional you can talk? There's LinkedIn nowadays. Go to LinkedIn, follow people, send a message, offer to go to an internship during your holidays. I know it's hard, but I've done that during the holidays, during the summer. I was going to other campuses, other institutions to work, sometimes for free, and just receiving food and the knowledge, the opportunity so I could develop because I didn't have a professor in my hometown college. So those are um, potential ideas. Okay, if you already have I recommend you to seek a guidance first, a professional that can guide you through the process. If not, try to get some material in the internet, and you can rewatch the presentation here to have a bigger idea, and just try to do something with them. I recommend, because you need some resources. Okay, unless you're a farmer. If you're a farmer, you can start seeing the managements you are practicing. So what you are doing right now, your crops, and then based on the crops visual aspect, if you don't have sensors, based on the crop visual aspect, you can say, okay, I need to apply more nitrogen here, or less fertilizer, or less biological product, and you can play around with that.
Thank you for your answer. Thank you, Deepak, for asking this question. So can you, Renzo, can you please see the question and answer section? You will find many questions there, and
Yes,
you can pick a few questions from there.
absolutely. Well, we can go in
So
order.
this is,
That's all right.
yeah,
Uh, from
the
next one is
first,
from
is Meghana.
Davala, right?
Yeah, the first one, it is criteria for use of precision farming. I think we covered this in the presentation. Yeah, you
Okay.
pick up the question. Yeah, you can pick the
Okay.
question. Yeah,
Well, I will try to answer all of them. Okay.
okay, sure.
Davala Josna. Sorry if I pronounce your name
So
wrong.
is
Okay.
this the, okay, first
Sir,
one
how
you will,
can we, sir, how can we adopt follow precision farming agriculture in a better way? Uh, I like this question because a lot of people are trying to do precision ag without really understanding how precision ag works, in fact. And what I mean by that is, instead of trying a lot of innovative approaches, why don't we try to optimize what we already have? And what I mean by that is, for example, I present about nitrogen and about sulfur. And although we are using satellite, we are using machine learning, we are doing some using some new things. We work with the farmers and we try to optimize what they are already doing, because the first objective should be improve precision agriculture adoption. We see a lot of people doing precision agriculture. If you go to conference, we see a lot of, oh my gosh, good ideas, good outcomes. But how much of those outcomes are being translated in the real world, in the field? That's why I love on-farm research, because on-farm research is one way to test new things, but in a way that farmers would use. So basically developing solutions, real world solutions for the farmers, for the consultants, precision agriculture solutions. And then after we help to enhance the adoption, after we help the farmers and consultants to use more precision ag, then we can say, okay, the standard is higher, we elevated the rule. So let's uh, let's try different things, new ideas. Let's bring more digital to them. But first, they need to use it, right? Uh, they need to be able to use what's already in the market and in a profitable, sustainable, and practical way.
yeah, thanks for your answer. So I think there is a question from Deepak. He says, sir, in India, most of the farmlands are fragmented, unlike other countries. So how far the precision agriculture will be efficient here?
Yeah, that's also a really good question, because I I've heard from some friends. I have a friend here who is doing a PhD. He's from India, and I also communicate with a lot of friends from India and the region. And indeed, it's a different scenario. It's different. But as I said, the concept of precision agriculture can be applied in all different scales. And I can see a shift in just doing precision agriculture for big scale to nowadays doing precision agriculture optimizations in general for a lower scale. And this is improving, especially because the demands are high. Okay. So first is we might not see as much as benefits when doing precision agriculture in a small scale because the spatial variability will be lower. We have less variability, spatial and temporal, in our field because it's lower. Sorry, it's smaller. However, it's also easier to manage because you don't need big machineries, you don't need big equipment. You can also manage that with your own hands and with more people if needed. So the idea basically is understand the variabilities you have. Sometimes you have um, water stress, you have more water retention, more compaction in specific areas, and then you manage. Okay, it will be easier in terms of less variabilities, but you might not see much benefits like big farms because you have less variabilities, right? So depending your field, your farm, see first if you have specific stress, specific problems, and then you see the potential for precision ag. If you don't have demands for precision ag in a small scale, I think that just applying a uniform rate might be enough. Okay. But then how to understand the optimal rate you can apply, what we call field specific. Field specific basically is you understand the optimized overall rate you can apply. And then based on that, you apply for the whole field. You don't apply specifically like the site specific that I present. Site specific is you understand the optimized rate for each segment and you apply in each segment. First, for field specific, it's the optimized for the whole field and you apply uniformly. That might be more practical in this situation.
Thank you, Deepak, for a question. I think we have another good question here from an anonymous attendee. It's not giving his name. So he asks, where does groundwater stand in precision agriculture, and how reliable are machine learning techniques?
Oh, that's fantastic. That's a really good question. First, answering about machine learning. Machine learning has been used by a lot of researchers, not only in agriculture but in medicine, in I don't know, many different areas. And we can we can do a literature review before applying those algorithms, those methods, and see how people are doing using the same algorithms, using the same ideas in other areas, and then apply in our area. And also back and forth, there are a lot of people referring to our work in agriculture and applying that in medicine. For example, people from precision medicine are learning a lot from precision agriculture, and also back and forth. Just to give another example, study design for on-farm research, there are people from medical school that they came to us and said, okay, we want to do a clinical trial. So basically, we have a hospital, we have clinics, and we want to make sort of like a study design, but treating people. So we have patients with different diseases, different conditions for specific places and specific locations, and we need to treat them with try different medicine, different conditions, different approaches. And how can we do that? So that's also one thing that we can do. And then we can see how reliable those tools are. But machine learning, in fact, is taking the world by storm, to be honest. A lot of people are using that, but of course, we need to follow the steps. There are a lot of steps to use, and addressing those steps are necessary. Okay, don't just use it, especially when you need to apply machine learning to have outcomes in the real world. It's more complicated. You can just do it and expect good outcomes.
All right, so I can see, if you can see in the chat, Renzo, we have a question from Rimsha. She says, hey, Renzo, what do you say about the climate, which is affecting agriculture every day, and the future of precision agriculture? Should native crops would be best for the climate with the help of precision?
Oh, there is a fantastic question. Honestly, I loved all the questions here. You guys are honestly, um, congratulations again. I can see that you guys are all prepared. Great questions. Um, so first, climate is an issue. Okay, climate is a huge demand for the society, and how to adjust not only agriculture but the whole society to climate is a must. For agriculture, it's complicated because we don't need to only adjust the genetics. A lot of companies, they are creating new genetics to adjust for the climate. So water stress, temperature, resilience, more food product, more yield. But what about our management, right? How to adjust what we need to do. So basically irrigation, nutrient application, seeding rate. So all the projects that are presented here, all the managements that are presented here today, how to optimize them. For that, we need to include weather data in our database. And then that's one a good explanation of why to use AI or why to use machine learning, right? Because machine learning and AI can give us more computing power, more processing power, more can bring us a better understanding of how those weather variables are impacting our current practices, and then use those variables or those limiting factors related to weather to create adjusted, tailored prescriptions or recommendations. Okay, that's a must. And creating, as we call, climate smart management or climate smart techniques is a must.
Right. So, uh, can you see some questions in question and answer section, Renzo? I think if you want to pick, this is something I think an advice, not a question, which somebody is asking for. When it is when key, and he says if you can suggest someone to do a business related to agriculture, which one would you like to suggest and why? I think this is something. What do you say, Renzo? This is something one should decide who's actually doing the business. Or I think this is not a question, maybe it's a suggestion they're asking for.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. If I suggest someone to do a business related to agriculture, which one would you like to suggest and why? Well, depends your expertise, right? Depends what you can apply. So there's a good Japanese philosophy called ikigai that they say when you need to find your purpose of
Purpose,
your
yes.
area, yeah, purpose, right?
Yeah,
Find something that you can be paid with, or find someone that you're good at, or find
you're good at
something that's important to the world. And uh, it's basically should be based. The decisions should be based on what you can offer, or what you see a purpose on, or what you're good at, or what you see as a valuable service to the world. For example, if you're good in computer science or data science, you can start applying that for agriculture. You can start working with precision ag and digital ag. But then what kind of service in specific you could offer depends what's accessible for you. And if you know, depends, do you want to make a company yourself, or do you want, or can you work for someone else? If you don't have a company but you want to create your own, I recommend you start working for someone else first, get resources, or entering the university. And university, there are uh, fostering agencies that you give your resources to be an entrepreneur. That's also a possibility. But I recommend you to first see the conditions you have, the resources you need, and based on that, of course, what you can offer, and start. Because when you start, other pathways will appear. Just start, okay? Start, see. what's happening, see what people are doing, and move forward. Always adjusting and move forward.
Thank you. There is, okay, Venki, thank you for your question. Now, there is a student asking that what are the good courses for at the postgraduate level at University of Minnesota. I think for that, Disha and other students who are asking, who are looking for some guidance from Renzo, they should connect with Renzo on his LinkedIn. I think you can help them with some guidance which they are looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. If you
Mhm.
have any questions about guidance, you can always reach out to me by email or by LinkedIn. Yeah, then it will be easier to help everybody. I know it's hard to help everyone, but at least you can have a good idea.
Yeah. So we can see in chat there's a question goes at what types of advanced machinery are essential to implement successful precision agriculture practices in India? Uh, I don't know whether you can answer this question, Renzo, because you do not belong to India, but maybe if you can, uh,
Yeah,
that's what. Yeah.
yes. So, uh, advanced machinery for India. Um, to be honest, I'm not sure, but I think that I presume that there is a demand for irrigation, right? Pivots for sure. Irrigation would be important. I presume. I don't know. But although I know that you guys produce a lot of rice, so rice consumes a lot of water, and depends because I also heard that organic farming is growing a lot in India. So I don't know if big sprayers would be important, but in most of the time, I think that machineries for seeding are extremely important and for a harvest. Okay. Then the management you do, so nutrient management, irrigation, and other management techniques, you can adjust with what you have. But seeding and harvest, I think that would be the most important for sure. For sure. You can if you can have a good planter and a good combine, good planter for planting and a good combine for harvesting, that you see that will help a lot. But if you have a lot of weeds and pests, also a sprayer would be extremely important because you don't have contact with the products. I see a lot of people getting contaminated by that, especially because they don't have the proper equipments, the protective equipment, and it's a good way to keep you guys healthy.
Great. So I think one more question. We are about to finish this session here today, and lots of questions. I think we would not be able to take all the questions. But one more question I'm reading for you, Renzo. This is from Dipali, and she says, should we focus more on conservation of the environment or food productivity for the upcoming years?
Okay, well, that's also a good question. Uh, should, both things should work together. Okay, that's how we should think always. Because first of all, we need to produce food and we need to feed the population, especially because population is growing exponentially. But we we reached a moment in our society and our world's timeline that we can't damage the environment anymore. So developing solutions that are productive and sustainable are a must. So how work with them together, and precision agriculture can work on that for sure. But how to develop those solutions is a must, right? I don't think that there are top priorities. I think that depending the region might be specific trade-offs that you'll need to address. For example, places where the food security is lower, I recommend you to invest more in food production because you need to feed people, right? And places where you already have enough food, then you can invest more sustainability, carbon sequestration at least. Okay. For example, US, I see a lot of nitrogen fertilizer going to groundwater, going to surface, and we are producing already a good amount of food. So why not invest more in conservation, in sustainability? And that's what people are doing. A lot of people are investing much more in sustainability because they're already producing enough. So that's just one example.
Thank you for your question, Dipali. I'll quickly take one more question here, Renzo. This is
Absolutely.
Nisar Joshi, and he's saying, "What is your prediction about agriculture's future as compared to it and other fields within next 10, 20 years? What can you suggest to students? What key points should students know before pursuing agriculture field?" Big question.
Yeah, very good question.
Mhm.
Um, First thing that you should know is about yourself. I recommend that every single person first develop a good understanding of your identity and see what you want, what are your principles, your values, and your purpose of life. Because I see a lot of people trying to find their purpose, trying to find their main objectives of life, but they don't know about themselves. So first thing is know about yourself, okay? And after that, if you still want to work with agriculture, you will see what you want to do in agriculture or what you can, as we mentioned together, Ikigai is a pretty valuable tool to find what you can do and your purpose on that. But what I mean by that is I've chosen precision agriculture because I wanted to tackle societal issues. I wanted to work with something innovative. I wanted to work to be disruptive. I didn't want to be the best of a lot. I wanted to be maybe the unique of a few. So that's why I always recommend people to work with innovative areas because it's easier to be highlighted and to create solutions and to do good things for our world and for the society. And in agriculture, in precision agriculture itself, I recommend you to work with to learn more about tools that involves data science, computer science. But in agriculture itself, and that's why agriculture is so complicated, it's so challenging. We need to know about math, we need to know about statistics, we need to know about chemistry, we need to know about biology, we need to know about physics, we need to know about what else? Uh, yeah, but the emphasis of each area will depends on what you work. Okay, if you work more in the finance aspect of agriculture, you need to know more about math. If you work with nutrient management, you need to know more about chemistry. So it always depends on your actuation, your role.
Thank you, Nisarg, for your question, and thank you, Renzo. It was, we had a great time being with you here for this session. I think each and every participant also is going back with a lot of knowledge and a lot of information which you have shared here. And this is, I think, was the last question. We have, though, many other questions coming up here, but we have time constraint and we need to say goodbye to everyone. Thank you, everyone, once again for your presence here. We are blessed to have Renzo for such good session we had with him, and we look forward for such some more sessions, Renzo, with you. We'll connect again. And just a quick information for all our participants here. Please join us for another great session on what's challenging global food security on 29th of November, 2:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time. And thank you very, very much for joining us today. Thank you, Renzo. We had a great time. Thank you very much for the session.
Thank you. It's all my pleasure. Thanks for having me. I appreciate a lot the invitation. And yeah, let's keep in touch. Let's keep in touch always. It's always a pleasure to collaborate with you guys. And again, congratulations on the great initiative. I think that giving this international exposure to people is fantastic. This changed my life, and I'm sure this will change a lot of others' lives as well. So thanks again.
Thank you, and have a good day to you, and good night to everyone here. Good evening from wherever you have joined. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Renzo, once again.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you.
everyone. Bye-bye.